God, the one that cannot see. It is fascinating to note that the word God, in all its diverse manifestations, has found its way into the lexicon of virtually every language spoken worldwide. But the fundamental question has to do with interpreting the word, and not how the word appeared. How many of those who tear their hair can tell us anything more than what they parrot from the various scriptures? Why does the fair God accept so many injustices? Why doesn't the merciful God take care of the many sufferers? And many more that every embittered believer faces by projecting a completely meaningless theory. They tell them and whistle nonchalantly that people are being punished for mistakes in their past lives. Anyway, there is no end to the list of these sort of questions. Mercy, shame, Catholically protesting Christians, but also all of you of other religious denominations. And the first conclusion is that 99% of people don't have the slightest idea about the one who so often refer to as their father or mother. The concept of divinity cannot be approached unless the one who dares to do so has a global view of creation and the rules of cybernetics that structure it. I'm not referring to scientific parrots again, but to a personal biotheory that can mainly present in a single plan all its aspects. I want to emphasize that even if we speak in general terms, something like that falls short of being enough. Do not adopt buzzwords and slogans that, in the next stage, cannot even serve the plan that yourself have accepted as the primary one. Please spare me questions such as, "What do you suggest?" I'm not suggesting anything. I simply present questions that I also try to answer, and these are what this article wants to explore. The first one is that God is not a person. God cannot be an individualized unit of any kind, so he can neither see nor hear, nor do anything that presupposes the organs that a living being can have. We should therefore identify him with something that is at a much higher level of consciousness, and which, again, I insist, does not bear any of our characteristics. So how do we expect him to take part in our daily activities? Within the thousands of millions of planets that logically host corresponding human civilizations, we end up talking about an incalculable number of people who reasonably have the same rights as us. So what exactly do we expect from this superior entity? It is time to forget the possibility of communication, not only with it, but also possibly with any of its first expressions. In other words, it is time to face our own daily life in terms that we ourselves establish, but also serve. If we want to eliminate child hunger, let's not wait for God to shower us with manna. We can do it alone as a whole, as humanity. But our reference to God is not only for such everyday matters. I would add that it has to do with the so-called existential problems. So let's forget the God we made in our image, and let's see his relationship with creation. Doing that, the next question I ask is whether creation and God are identical concepts, or better yet, are they the same? My opinion is that they are not. I would jokingly say that creation is one, while God is the zero. Meaning that we must forget him and look to find his imprint in the act of creation. Don't ask me if this is easy. Philosophically, such a search appears to be the only way to go. However, it is important to note that it is nearly impossible to do so on the poor man who is burdened with countless obligations that consume his time in daily basis. Due to the utter absurdity of today's humanity, a choice was made to place the devil right beside God. I have never heard or read something so ridiculous. The devil, also called Lucifer, cannot be so high in the hierarchy of creation. It expresses something quite different from divinity. It represents the expression of chaos. Next to him, the angelic world expresses order, just so we're on the same page. In order to understand these, however, we must keep in mind the theory of opposites and adversities. Understanding this key concept is crucial, as it not only helps us comprehend the creation process, but also how it functions on a daily basis within the space that envelops us. We also understand it within the operation of our soul's form. Opposites are concepts that can work together and compose. Adverse powers cannot synthesize even if they cooperate. Example: mountain and sea are opposites. Mountain and non-mountain are adverse. And lest you say that I'm hiding behind the words, man and woman are opposites. Male and non-male are adverse. Good and evil are adverse. Wisdom and stupidity are adverse. Love and hate are adverse. Let's bring an end to the issue. The more one triumphs, the more the other diminishes. The more the forces of creation bring order to chaos, the less chaos there will be. Nothing more to say. The idea of man, however, belongs to the forces of order. Its role is to close within himself that part of creation where the struggle between chaos and disorder is taking place. This part is commonly referred to as the soul. There is where angels and demons are fighting. This is one more reason the prodigal son of creation, and not the firstborn, wins the fattened calf, angels and demons. Back to God. So he is nothing of what we have or haven't mentioned. He is above and beyond. But if some want a Goddy lower down the level of creation, who is involved in the process of chaos and order, that is a different tale. There are many such Goddies, although this term is completely comical. These are dynamic entities that represent a tier of the world hierarchy at a lower cybernetic level. Lucifer, as well as his counterpart in the angelic world, is not such a god. They are found in the soul of these entities, and there they fight to prevail against their counterparts. The result determines the status of evolution at that level. Dealing with our own humanity, the earthly one, the signs show that order still has a long way to go to win this area. As long as people fight over whether their own prophet or leader has bigger cojones than the others, the chaos will be advancing. If that's what we want, we succeeded. If not, we lost. And this is the way.